What's going on, everyone? We are back again talking about the meta, the little snippet of the meta of Legends of the Force before the Galactic Championship. I made a video about these first two tournaments that came out just a couple of days ago about how Han Blue Force is one of the decks to really see or to prepare for the Galactic Championships, but we've got a bunch more minor tournaments. Now, I will say, take all this information with a big grain of salt. While this does give us a little inkling into what people are considering to play and what cards you might be seeing, this is very early on, for one. Two, it is smaller tournaments. And three, there may not be a lot of really solid testing going into the specifics of these decks. And it's just early in the set anyways, so who really knows exactly what people are going to bring in terms of the popularity of certain lists, right? That said, we do get a little bit of what people are bringing towards, well, still very important cash tournaments. Like these are, 1K cash tournaments. These are things that people are trying to bring what they consider to be the most competitive. So it is going to give us a little bit of a snippet of the meta. And it is nice because this is really the only data that we'll get until the Galactic Championship comes. As of recording this video, it is 7:20, which means in about 4 days from now, more about 5 days from now, we are going to see the Galactic Championship live inside Las Vegas. So this is about all you got. Maybe there's going to be a couple more tournaments, but for the most part, this is what you should see in terms of preparing for the meta. If you watched my previous video, by the way, a big thank you to my patrons. Can't wait to meet you all for the Las Vegas tournament here. Then we would have talked about the Han Blue. Han Blue was a major portion and still is. Han Blue, Han Green Force. Those two combinations are going to be very, very big contenders. But if you look here, actually, the people who are winning or the leaders / deck combinations that are winning, we've got, well, Grand Inquisitor Blue. It's a fun one. I do think Grand Inquisitor got a lot better with this new set. Piet, 2 Vaders, a Sabine, and a Talzin Red. Of these, although the Grand Inquisitor and Piet Red won, I don't think these are going to be super popular. These ones are a little bit more of the, random store showdown wins and things like that. Although I think they're solid lists, it definitely could put up a good showing. I don't think they're going to be very popular at all. But these 3 lists up here, Vader Yellow, Sabine Green, and Talzin Red, I think are going to be major contenders in the tournament. These are going to be probably a good portion of the meta. And if we dive into the first top 8 here, this is the Piet Red. You can see there's a couple of very interesting ones in here. Obviously, the Han Green Force still there, but I mean, you could even see 7th place was a Lake Country Han 4 list, which is not something that's on anyone's radar. But we also have a Talzin Green Force list, a Talzin Red Force list, as well as Garsaxin Yellow, Cad Bane Red, and a Luke Data Vault. Luke Data Vault's definitely been an interesting one. I think it was Woo who posted his list a little bit ago on the full space Luke Green, which is definitely a way to go. Full space decks are something that can take advantage of a lot of decks in the meta, so I do think that's quite interesting. But mainly the lists that I'm really looking at are the Talzins, as well as the Garsaxin Yellow and Cad Bane Red and Han. Those are the lists that I'm kind of expecting to see a lot of. The next top 8, the 1K with the winner of Talzin Red Force. You can see what is the top 8. This is what I expect the top 8, or I should say exactly the top 8, but this is what I expect a good portion of the meta to be. Talzin Red, so 2 Talzin Reds in the top 8. We have 3 Han Blue Force and a Sabine Green and a Quinlan Red. That is very, very much what people are expecting to see with the Galactic Championship. Talzin Red is definitely the more popular. Talzin Green is the other variant, but Talzin Red has some really, really awesome tools, and we'll go over the list here in just a moment, that could really take control of the board. You just get so much board presence with Talzin as a leader, and her action is exceptionally powerful to really mess up your opponent. And then, of course, Han Blue Force. We've already seen the lists utilizing so many different new cards like Kiadi Mundi, Chirrut, Argdo Bogdo, Grogu. Just amazing, amazing new additions in the Han Solo list. And then, of course, we still have a classic set 4 Quinlan here. That, new additions from set 5, but a set 4 Quinlan mainly list that is contending in the top 8 as well. And for the other 1K tournament, that I think these are the 3 most kind of applicable tournaments. We've got Sabine Green, Han Blue. This one is actually just a normal Han Blue. This one's a Han Blue Force, Kylo ECL, Garsaxin ECL, Cad Bane Red, Vader Yellow, and another Talzin Red Force. Two interesting lists to talk about here: the Kylo ECL and Gar Saxon ECL. Of course, these get to leverage the new Vader. Having the new Vader in your ECL deck is just incredible, period. It's going to win you some games. Just, it is what it is. But Kylo ECL, I think this is one of those kind of more sleeper lists. Kylo ECL as well as Kylo Data Vault. I lean more towards Kylo Data Vault just because if we're going to see these lists like Sabine Green, if we're going to see the lists like Quinlan, and even to some degree Talzin, which can be very, very aggressive if you have the right draw, Vader Yellow, which is a go wide deck and can end the game before you actually get to the later stages of the game, you're going to struggle without that extra 8 HP. So I lean more towards Data Vote, but we'll talk about the ECL list. And of course, Gar Saxon ECL, you have so many new additions. You don't get access to the Gar Saxon yellow portion, which is Shin Hati, as well as a bunch of other great cunning cards. But ECL does give you access to, well, Overwhelming Barrage, Darth Vader, and another couple of amazing cards. So I think Gar Saxon ECL and Gar Saxon Yellow are really, really nice decks to see. But let's dive into some lists and get some more specifics here, starting us off with the Gar Saxon Yellow that I have been seeing. This one has been really awesome. And by the way, I absolutely love the Shin Hati Prestige Edition. I think it's absolutely sweet. The lightsaber effects here are really, really awesome. But what do we get from the new Gar Saxon from set 5? Well, obviously Shin is one of them. We also get Axe Woves. This is a great addition to the deck. We also get just a bunch of minor value pieces like Secretive Sage, giving you 9 total turn 1 plays. I don't even know if this deck was running Secretive Sage, but definitely, in my opinion, should be one that they would want to run. So I'm surprised not to see it if they don't have it in the deck. But also they have a lot of just kind of value pieces, right? With Gar Saxon, Snapshot Reflexes suddenly becomes a really powerful surprise strike type effect, but with also permanent bonuses. This one is very much a list that is very scary to see in the meta. It's very, very difficult to deal with all the shielded units earlier on in the game. As I said, Axe in of himself is a 4/3 shielded when he comes down, so he can immediately trade. One of the things with other decks when they're playing Axe is a 3/3 shielded. And oftentimes you could attack it, get rid of the shield, and have your unit stick around. But a 4/3 shield, it makes it a lot more difficult. And not to mention things like Snapshot Reflexes are suddenly +2/+2. And let's say he doesn't have the shield token on him, it's +3/+2. Hotshot Blaster becomes +3/+1. All these random upgrades you could toss around. It can be very, very scary. And it's just a really, really obnoxious leader to go up against if you're just relying on a bunch of shielded or damage-based or unit-based combat. It's really tough to deal with all the shield tokens. And you can have very aggressive starts like Direct Krennic plus Greedo on turn 1 into, let's say, Onyx Squadron Brute plus another 2-drop on turn 2, or even Shuttle on turn 2, which we've seen that from set 4. There are some exceptional things you can do with Gar Saxon Yellow, and I do think it's going to be one that is on people's list. And in fact, I just recorded my video of 5 more decks to bring to the Galactic Championships, and this was one of them. Next up, we got Kylo Ren. This is another one that was on that list that I just recorded for, but mine was more of a Data Vault version. This one is very, very interesting, though. The advantage of Kylo Ren comparatively to Talzin and your Kira's, and I guess more specifically Kira, because Kira is going to be in the same color combination as Kylo versus Talzin, and I suppose you could go Kylo Red, but I've viewed Kylo Green as a little bit more powerful. Talzin, both of them are the Vigilance Villainy leaders, or all 3 of them are Vigilance Villainy leaders. And the advantage of Kylo is that you get a 7 to deploy leader that's super high value because it essentially draws you cards by being able to play some of those upgrades that you're tossing in the discard pile from your discard pile, which is really, really nice. On another note, it's 7 to deploy, whereas Talzin and Kira are both 5 to deploy. This means that more aggressive decks, like Sabine, for example, can really overwhelm you. Same with Vader Yellow. If they go really wide, things like Power of the Dark Side or Merciless Contest really suck, and you don't have options for Overwhelming Barrage. Usually these decks, as you can see here, don't have a lot of units in the early game to be able to utilize Overwhelming Barrage. The nice advantage, though, and this is where Kylo really gets a lot more powerful, is although we have a little bit of a weaker early game, as I said, our later game is a lot more powerful. With Kylo deploy, with things like Craving Power, he turns him into removal, plus a massive Sentinel body. You also have things like Anakin Skywalker, and you can discard things like Heirloom Lightsaber to make it so that you could double trigger the Anakin Skywalker, which is absolutely amazing. Jedi Lightsaber is also in this list. You have a great late game with Avengers, Devastators, Darth Vaders, plus time interventions, and all that good stuff that you're normally used to in Command Villainy Vigilance. So this list has a lot going for it. Kylo Ren being a big sentinel can prevent a lot of ground assaults, have a lot of value, and you can still put upgrades on him after he's deployed. I've had a lot of games where, I discard a Craving Power and maybe a Legal Authority, and when he comes down, he kills a unit and captures another one, really just resetting the board. And then I could follow that up with another Craving Power next turn to kill another thing, right? It does get pretty crazy pretty quickly. And of course, Kylo Ren, he comes down, and if you do the Craving Power plus Legal Authority, he has a 7/9, which means you're ending the game pretty quickly as well. Immediate attack for 7, he's going to end the game in about 4 turns usually. So very, very strong, and a lot of options for you to run with Kylo Ren. I think this is going to be one of those lists that people should be on the lookout for and might be worth bringing. But lastly, we've got the Talzin red list. And this is one that I think a lot of people are very excited about, especially since it is a set 5 leader. Similar to Kylo Ren, this is the Talzin red. I have really started to appreciate Talzin red, mainly for 2 reasons. The first one being you get Fallen Lightsaber. I absolutely love Fallen Lightsaber in this list. It is absolutely fantastic. Force Throw and Force Lightning are the other reason. Force Throw, obviously it's red, it's aggression. It is absolutely exceptional. We've talked about Force Throw. It is the one that's on the list of maybe getting looked at and banned by FFG, and Force Lightning is also on that list. Force Lightning is just an exceptional removal option, but you also get a lot more interesting Force units in aggression compared to Command, which is nice, especially when you're running a Force base. And if you look at this deck, we have Secretive Sage, Night Sister Warrior, Karis, all on turn 1, all giving you access to Force plays. You have amazing Force payoffs. You have Talzin's Assassin as well as Darth Tyrannus here on turn 3, which is amazing. That's actually going to utilize the Force, because remember, even though Force Throw and Force Lightning work with Force cards, they don't actually use the Force so that you could actually take advantage of it. Old Daka as a way to reset some of the Night Sister abilities. We have just amazing kind of value pieces like Asajj Ventress, just powering up some units. And as I said, one of the most powerful things you can be doing is deploying Talzin, putting a Fallen Lightsaber on Talzin, and then guess what? You can follow it up with like Force Throws, or this deck is playing Grenade Strike, which I think is interesting. But in general, for Fallen Lightsaber on Talzin, suddenly is 1 damage to everything, and then another -1/-1 to something, which can just absolutely annihilate a bunch of units. Main deck Descending Fang Fighters for all the upgrades around, I think is interesting. Also, the other thing that I think is very interesting about this list is the Sun. Now, the Sun is not something that I have found to be very strong. I have played around the Sun with a bunch of Force units in my deck, and generating the Force, of course. This comes down as a 7-drop and gives +2/+0 to all your units on the board. I do think in Talzin it is one of the better lists to be playing the Sun in, because when Talzin is on the board and you do equip her up with a Fallen Lightsaber, or just having Talzin period, she's kind of a tough leader to deal with and really does control the board and allow you to deploy more to it. This is one of those controlling lists that it controls the game by attacking, by dominating the board, by putting more units on the board, and then having very cheap interactive options like Force Throw, Power of the Dark Side, and Force Lightning to maintain control of that board. And so because of that, it's very likely for you to have like 2 or even 3 units on the board when the Sun comes down, and that might actually finish the game off for you, which is very interesting. So that is something to think about. I think the Sun in this list is an awesome addition, just for the fun aspect, period. I haven't been able to test enough with the Sun to determine whether or not I have had him to be an actual, like, not just a win more card, because that is what the Sun tends to be for me. But, as I said, Talzin is one of those cards, one of those leaders that kind of supports what the Sun is trying to do. You have, of course, naturally powerful cards that were in previous sets, like Ruthless Raider, as just a strong aggression villainy option. But overall, this is what people are super excited about. This is it right here. The Talzin red list. This is the one. And I believe that this is going to be a list that a lot of people are going to try to bring, just because they want to play a Force deck and they don't want to play Han, right? And if that's the case, if you want to play a Force deck and you want to play Hod, it's like Talzin or Obi-Wan. And if you're playing Obi-Wan, you're still playing oftentimes, either playing Command Vigilance, or you're going to go with the aggression. You're playing Command Aggression, which is, again, very similar to a lot of Han lists. So something to think about with that. And of course, I know a lot of people are just trying to do something a little bit different so they don't have all the same decks that they're bringing to the tournaments here. So all that said, those are some of the lists to be on the lookout for. Those are kind of the decks that are actually taking down and winning some games in some local tournaments. And even if, let's say, it's a small sample size, and as I said, take this with a grain of salt, the important thing to note is that this is what people are choosing to bring to these more competitive tournaments. And they're not like hyper competitive like the Galactic Championship, but they are 1K tournaments. Like if I was going to go to a 1K, I'm not going to bring a meme deck. Usually, like I'd want to actually try to win. And so even though I might bring like maybe not the absolute what I consider to be S tier, I might bring the Garsax and Yellows of the world, that's still a deck that people will be bringing for the Galactic Championship. If you look at all the past major tournaments, those are going to be, kind of 2% of the meta. Like maybe 2% is Garsax and Yellow, or 2% is Obi-Wan Blue, and then when you get to the really good list, like Talzin Red, Obi-Wan, Han Blue, those can make up, 8, 9 to 10% of the meta. So yes, all these matchups that you're seeing, all of them should be ones that you're considering, if it's not something that you want to bring, but at least considering as to what you should be expecting at the tournament. And it might be worth getting in a couple games against those just to see how the matchups and decks play out. That said, let me know what you think about the tournament so far, and let me know what you think about the meta of Legends of the Force now that we're actually have the set revealed and active in the game. Because I know I've talked about the Legends of the Force meta, but that was before the set was even active and released, because we just had the cards revealed for so long because of the leaks that happened months ago. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think, and hopefully you've got a plan for the Galactic Championship, and I'll see you there.